Hello, viewers, and welcome to this edition of snsr360 Investor. And this is the weekly wrap video. And we will be touching upon pretty much all aspects of the 360-degree framework. And so from today, we'll touch upon several of these items. We'll be touching on leaders basket or sector allocation as them are currently in play. Okay, quick word about the disclaimer. Please pause, read, continue. Thank you. Okay, so the best performing pick first in the terms of our agenda items. Last week's best performing pick was CAVA, which is CAVA Group. It's a restaurant. This was a recent IPO, which came out and fell off the wagon. Based, it's been moving up pretty strong, smartly since then. It's kind of formed a little bit of a consolidation over here. Not fully fleshed out, but we can see it had quite the move this week, and that contributed to the outperformance. In terms of some background, it's a chain of restaurants under the CAVA brand and operating in the United States. And in addition to operating a restaurant, they also sell some of their sauces and dips, etc. Okay, on to the market updates. So let's take a look at the broader NASDAQ first, and we can see that according to IBD, anyway, they had put the trend into correction over here, and so since then we've been looking for a follow-through day, and now we had a nice rally day here, nice little second day follow-through, little gap up, which didn't hold, kind of reversed down, closed at the highs of the prior day, and then we had a big gap down, but it was a close above the gap day open, so a bit of a reversal, which looked promising. And but the volume wasn't quite there, and then we had this nice huge gap up, so we definitely had the price point scored on the board, but it wasn't quite, the volume wasn't quite there. So we'll be looking to see if we can get that into an uptrend. So follow through day could come any day now, since we're past the 4 days since the rally day, and we're just looking at a fairly significant price move on the S&P or NASDAQ, primarily with heavier volume. So typically that heavier price move, we said, depends on the volatility, but 1.25 to 1.3 should get us there and put us back into an uptrend. The other thing to note here is that what we have to watch out for is the fact that we are below the key moving averages, especially the 50. And so we kind of just tagged it from below, close to tagging it. If we can't get through that and hold it, then there may be further weakness ahead. So it's probably best to wait for, actually a really good setup, probably best to wait for a confirmation of a new uptrend before committing too much into the markets, and just wait slowly. Okay, so just take a look at the weekly heat map for the S&P 500, and here we can see the big lift were done by NVIDIA, Google from their earnings, Meta went the other way, and then over here we see Tesla after post earnings also had quite a big move, but from a big sell-off. And another notable one is JP Morgan, and Avago. So these were, and we had a lot of green this week. And so the picture improved Thursday and Friday. Okay, and then looking at the top caps in the S&P, for example, so we can see that last week most of these were trending down, and they were all pointing downwards, but now we've got this movement bounce back up. So we can see there's been some dip buying or earnings related moves back up, but the picture has improved from the prior week where pretty much everything in unison was pointing downwards. And then over to the daily on the S&P 500. So short-term markers on this intermediate range are still negative. I want to see that change up, and we can see that the shortest of the oscillators has moved to the upside a little bit. So that's good. That tells us that maybe we're going to swing up. And notably, I pointed out this support trend line up here. There was two of them, and we came down to it, tagged it, bounced exactly from it, and we're now finding resistance at the 50-day. So we'll see what happens here in the week to see if we can muster out of this and maybe retest this recent high up here. Then if we look at the Dow Jones on a shorter time frame, we can see that it's kind of bounced off this recent low point here, hit resistance at this average here. But more importantly, we can see that the broader NYSE, the advanced decline line, came down, found support at longer-term moving average, and it's come off. So this is kind of telling us that there's been people stepping back in, buying the recent dip, the 5% correction, and somebody's been rotating back into the markets. And then next, with another breadth indicator, which is the T218 on the Walden system. This measures price against the 40-day moving average. So we can see that we had this nice little bounce up, and then it'll pull back in here. Some stocks fell by the wayside, but the most recent move was to back up to the upside. So we still need to get above kind of this 40 level. So that's what we watch for this week to see if we can then muster tags to the 50 and above. So we definitely need to see that breadth improve before you commit too much money to the markets. Okay, a quick word on the earnings. Some notable earnings this week. Some big names, so definitely could have market movement one way or the other. Apple, Amazon, and NVO, Novartis, and Eli Lilly, AMD, and SMCI are notable earnings to watch during this week. And then quick Sensor 100 has been posted, and for those who have access to the website, which is free to everybody, you can just click on Sensor 100 up here, and you'll get to it. 5 stocks we'll be looking at from the selection will be ALAB, Vargo, CAVA, which was also the best performing pick from last week, Nvidia, and Wingstop. Okay, and in that same order. So here we can see ALAB. It's an IPO, still early on. Not enough chart time, but it's looking like it may be forming a consolidation there. Something to watch. Okay, the next one we can see we got a little consolidation base appearing up here. So this is actually a good little setup. Nice move up, consolidating. That's Avago. Then CAVA, we saw earlier the stock performing picks. So it's been moving up quite nicely. Nice little pullback below the average, retakes the average. Very strong move up here in a consolidation. So see if that one breaks out. Then Nvidia, which has been, it's in a consolidation zone right here. Had a good week last week. Nicely thing picks that up. So we can see if this one has a breakout in the days ahead. And we just finish up with Wingstop, which has been moving up quite nicely. Actually, very tight moves, some accumulation, and then it's fallen into sideways digestion. So a breakout above this level will be the ticket there. And so since we are still waiting for the follow-through day, which is one of our signals to enter our mechanical trades, nothing has soft this weekend. So very likely that we'll have a breakout and we can move. Then we can set up the leaders index. And for those of you who have access to the website, you'll be able to see the initial list and the leaders index group 44. Okay, onto the ETF watch. Stock this week is bots. So this is all about AR, artificial intelligence, and robotics, etc. It's got companies like Video AI are in the holdings. And this is what the chart looks like. So it's had a nice little pullback, correction, consolidation. Came out of that. It's moved out quite neatly. Good follow through. Now it's forming another little consolidation base structure building up here. So I think if this one gets back above that 50-day, you can start looking at it with a view to an entry point. Okay, so that's a quick wrap up of this week's activity. So we went through several items in our menu board, and hope there was some. So the key thing to watch out for this week is obviously if we get a follow through day, because that will trigger leaders index, and also keep an eye out on those earnings, because we are going to see some big companies report. So that could also have a weigh in on what happens with the indexes. Finally, it is FOMO week, not FOMC week, FOMC week. So there could be some news coming out of the Fed, which could also move our markets one way or the other. So hopefully this was useful, and there's something in here for everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.